Welcome to the MOOC course for biomedical engineering. I'm ch1.1, an associate professor in the biomedical engineering department at UNIST. This MOOC course is designed to introduce biomedical engineering based on the activities in our department. Medical engineering is a relatively new field of research, so quite often we get the question from students and colleagues, what is biomedical engineering? As you imagine, it combines biology, medicine, and engineering. However, the interdisciplinary and integrative approaches that biomedical engineering pursues present more powerful synergistic impact on society these days. So the members of the Department of Biomedical Engineering at UNIST are committed to advancing human healthcare through creative and interdisciplinary research and education to solve many healthcare, medicine, and even biology problems. In this course, many faculty members at UNIST BME will provide lectures about various topics in biomedical engineering research. Mainly, the classes were categorized into 6 areas: biomedical imaging, brain and cognitive engineering, rehabilitation and regenerative engineering, precision nanomedicine, genomics and bioinformatics, and digital healthcare. I will introduce this MOOC course as you are watching now. Next, I will also explain how we organize our curriculum. As you imagined, because biomedical engineering covers many disciplines in natural science and engineering, we design a flexible curriculum so students can choose what they want to study. Detailed classes will be briefly introduced in the second lecture. The third lecture is a special one by Professor Eun-Kyu Jung. Many research areas we focused on in the department are now converging into digital healthcare. Professor Eun-Kyu Jung is heavily involved in many projects related to this theme, from digital pathology and handheld bioimaging device. We will talk about the current status of innovation for healthcare in biomedical engineering. The first theme we will present is biomedical imaging. We have 6 faculty members working in this area, and 3 professors will present their research. Professor Jung-Hoon Park will introduce the power of biomedical imaging under the title Seeing Life at Nanoscale. Professor Jun-Mo Yang, who is working on photoacoustic technology, will explain the translational application of biophotonics. Lastly, Professor Hyung-Jun Cho will discuss the future of MRI and other medical imaging. The brain and cognitive engineering fields are hacking the signals from our brain and using them to understand how the brain works. These works are highly connected to understanding our mental health. In the first lecture, Professor Oh Sang-kwon will introduce visual perceptions. Next, Professor Dong-il Jung will discuss decision-making, learning, and brain engineering. In this lecture, he will explain how brain and cognitive engineering research can help us understand how we learn and decide. Lastly, Professor Do-young Jung, also a medical doctor of psychology, will explain an exciting research field connecting digital healthcare to our mental health. Rehabilitation and regeneration engineering are quite distinct themes, but we combine them into one group because they aim to help people with disability. Professor Kwan-Sup Shin will introduce ergonomics and biomechanics, which is fundamental to designing the rehabilitation strategy for physical injury. Professor Hyun-Wook Kang, an expert in 3D bioprinters, will discuss regenerations with a bioprinter. Bioprinter is a new technology in tissue engineering, printing cells onto particular tissues or structure so that it can help tissue regenerations. You can see a similar scene in the science fiction movie, but it is not fiction anymore. Lastly, Professor Tae-Eun Park will discuss the future of personalized organ mimetics. She is reconstructing organ tissues in a dish so we can use them for disease modeling, drug screening, and many other applications. Researchers in the precision nanomedicine fields mainly focused on microfluidic devices and biomaterials for diagnostics and therapeutics. Professor Yoon Kyung-jo will introduce her lab-on-a-chip platform for precision medicine. Lab-on-a-chip is a small device with many functions available in the laboratory equipment so that it can help complicated diagnostics and therapeutic functions in a small device. Professor Cho will introduce some more real applications and how these technologies can change biomedicine. Professor Jin Myung-ju will talk about nanomedicines that interacts with host biology. He is developing novel materials to deliver drugs or other therapy reagents to the desired tissues or cells. You can learn how nanomaterials development can contribute to biomedical research. Lastly, Professor Joo-Hun Kang will talk about the general applications of micro and nanotechnology for human disease. Last research area that we will introduce is genomics and bioinformatics. I am also part of this research team and will discuss deciphering genomic information. The Human Genome Project is finished in 2002, but we still decode many more genomes for humans and other species. I will discuss why we need them for. Professor Seung-Woo Cho, an expert in genome editor CRISPR, will explain about genome engineering and CRISPR. He will also introduce the novel application of CRISPR to cure human diseases. Nowadays, we have the power to analyze genomes of each cell in the tissue. And this approach opens up many new features related to human disease these days. Finally, Professor Se-Min Lee, an expert in single-cell genomics, will discuss single-cell genomics applications for the human condition. Lastly, we prepared the introductions of Institute for Basic Science Centers, which has a strong connections with our department. First, Professor Kyung Jae-myung, the Center for Genomic Integrity Director and UNIST BME professor, will introduce his center and how it is connected to biomedical engineering. Center for Soft and Living Matters, a highly interdisciplinary IBS center, including biomedical engineering, will be introduced for the centers and the research with the pre-recorded video. Lastly, although it is not located on our UNIST campus, we have a strong collaboration with Center for Cognitions and Sociality led by Professor Chang-Jun Lee, and have recruited graduate students with a dual supervision by UNIST BME professors and the researchers in the center. Their research activities are also introduced by pre-recorded video here. Through this class, I hope you can expand your understanding of biomedical engineering and how it can change the world. Enjoy the lecture.